16 minutes past 12. Good afternoon to you. All right. Rock music. It has been, of course, a staple of the Indian music scene for many, many years. And Indian audiences have reveled in heavy rock, no doubt about it. Some of the biggest heavy metal bands in the world, for instance, have been hugely popular on that side of the world. My next guest is in a band called Nivid, who make what they call industrial rock music. They're from Gurgaon in India, which was named by Greenpeace as the most polluted city on the planet. In response to the environment, Nivid have created this. Have a listen. That's The World Around Me, Infinite Support, Sanskari. And thank you to Nivid for making that piece of music fascinating. The sounds, the layering of it, that hard edge, which I'm sure gets audiences going absolutely crazy in India. The composer behind it, Aditya Vermani from the band, joins me now. Aditya, very good afternoon to you, sir.
Hey, man. Good afternoon, Nihal. How are you, man?
I'm good. It's good to speak to you. Aditya, tell me what it is like to live in a place where you know every time you breathe in, it is poisoning you.
Mm-hmm. Nihal, it's baffling, man, because growing up, we never had these issues come up, ever, you know. And the way that I see it right now is that there's been like change of cycles in cultivation, and it's causing the pollution to sort of flow inwards towards Delhi, and it's terrible, man. Like the other day we were just inaugurating, we just launched some of our music, and we were going on a few shows, and I couldn't see anything, man. The visibility is so low, and it's gonna hurt you. But the sad part also is that people are sort of in denial about it. The same day I was off to the airport in a cab, and I asked the cab guy about, what does he think about the pollution levels? And he's just like, we have different things to now think about. It's an old topic. So it's weird in the things that are happening out here right now. They're not helping it for sure, and it's sad. I mean, I go out, I breathe, I'm living, but I'm sick right now as I speak to you.
How does it affect your artistry? I mean, how powerful a force is it to create music out of the environment you find yourself in?
So, the track that you just played, it's called The World Around Me. It sort of was the first track that came out of the new album that we've written called Marna, which literally sort of means to die. I was never in Gurgaon before. I've lived in different parts of India, and I think 3 to 4 years ago is when I sort of dropped in out here, and it's just been like I couldn't never leave. It was like being in Hotel California or something like that. Anyhow, so getting to the point, I mean, I would never write. I remember the music that came out of say the city that I lived in before, called Pune, or in different parts of the world as well, was very different. And then, I'm here right now, it's chaotic. And I remember there was this person who asked me, how does it feel to sort of live in the most polluted city in the world? And, I just feel that this music sort of thrives on all the chaos that I see around me. It's very much because of that. I think it's a big reflection of how I see the world around me.
And with
It's
Nivid,
abrasive.
and with Nivid, what is the overriding, do you think, emotion that controls the music that you make?
So Nivid is a new sort of a project, that, I mean, I saw this band 9 Inch Nails, which I'm a big fan of.
Yeah,
I saw
wow.
them live last year. And
Trent Reznor, yeah, what a band.
Trent Reznor, man, yeah, exactly. So he had been saying that there could be no more princes in rock and roll, precisely because and he was lashing out at Taylor Swift while he was saying that nobody's talking about what matters anymore. And I come out here and I'm just sort of looking at everything around me, and it's chaotic. I'm just seeing the entire world sort of go down. Since I've been born, religion has also played a big part of the identity of humans in sort of this part of the world. And I was just like, really, I was like, I need to sort of write something about it, do something about it. And after reading all those interviews where, I think he was also praising how Childish Gambino had come up with This Is America, the track and the portrayal that he'd done. So, I just felt like it was a responsibility to sort of, say out and, write about things that matter to you as an artist. In fact, I was, sitting down looking at being in my studio. I was just thinking about why I started playing the guitar in the first place and, what sort of motivated me to sort of do what I do. And I remember all these bands who would sort of, musicians talking about things which matter. And so I just took out a piece of paper, locked myself in a studio for 3 months, and I started writing something which, the thoughts that were just like sort of now accumulated in my journal and putting, music to that. And so as overriding as it can get, everything around me, the environment that we sort of live in right now is what it is how I see it.
It's interesting that you mentioned those bands. It's interesting that we have a grime scene over here, Aditya, and especially an artist like Stormzy is addressing that. We also have an incredible guitar band called Idols. I don't know if you've heard any of their music, but again, really a kind of attacking the system. But of course, in India, there are so many things that can fire you up. There's so many injustices and corruption and ethnic strife that you almost kind of... Is there ever a feeling that you're overwhelmed by it all?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because I'd be very honest, I used to say this, I couldn't put words before, but I remember saying this, I've been saying this for the past 8 years, that if there is a place to write music which is challenging the system, rock music, as I sort of grew up to, it's India, man.
Right. Yes, it is. It is. But do you feel that that the young people are listening, that they are ready for change?
I mean, when I look at it, I remember being in school and, studying after, going and graduating and stuff like that. I remember, you'd always think that it's your generation who's sort of going to go and change the system. And this music, again, is for, everybody, and especially people who are like teenagers, right now in India. I mean, the idea is that it needs to sort of provoke some sort of a change to, they need to sort of feel and see what's happening in the world around, that they've been living in. And because how else would you sort of, when there's so much of mainstream media which is sort of taking them away from what the reality is, how else do you sort of, make them sensitive to what's happening, yeah.
It's going to be hard. What about the way that the label scene is changing, Aditya? The way that you can get your music out to people? Is there a streaming revolution going on?
You have a lot of music now. I mean, for sure. I mean, anybody could write music and sort of put that out there to sort of, for people to listen to, which is a very admirable thing, because now everybody has a voice. But with that also follows, now you've got to sort of make yourself heard in that noise is also a challenge. So you'd have a lot of music which is, I feel, in my opinion, very generic. And, to sort of, I'm so glad that right now we just had a snippet of a song played out here, and, just to sort of hear something like that in a stream of very similar sounding music is itself it's a win for us,
It's good to speak. Listen, it's good to speak to you. Thank you so much, Aditya Vermani, for taking time out to speak to us here on BBC Asian Network.